Hey everybody! Welcome back. It's me, Northernlion. I'm playing the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth plus 1 win in a row. Ruka, that's not really an impressive feat. But you know what? The thing is, in order to get... Oh my god. Dude, actually, I'll be honest with you. 17 rate of fire is okay because we have 5 damage because of Eve's Mascara. So, we would have been at like 9, 2.5. Thought maybe we'd get a bomb there. Like 9 rate of fire, 2.5 damage. That's also pretty not great, but you know, it's roughly the equivalent. Now, if push comes to shove, in my advanced Isaac senescence, that's old age. I'll save you a dictionary.com visit. What would I rather have? Low rate of fire, high damage, or high rate of fire, relatively low damage? I would rather have the high rate of fire. The exception being, you know, polyphemus, proptosis, you know, etc., etc., and etc. But it is what it is. Now, Ruka, you fought to come into the room. Now you're fighting to get out. It's, you know, many funnier people than myself have commented upon it, I'm sure. It's a let me in, let me in, let me out, let me out. Bombs? Oh, thank you. It's hard to reason with a cat. You know, it's a Sunday morning here in Vancouver. I woke up earlier than my wife. Sorry, than my wife. And when I wake up, the cats are like meow, meow, meow. Ooh. I get to keep the spirit heart. Well, except for the half I lost, I'm sure. And I gotta be like, shh. And then when I make the shh sound, they're like, yes, that's the sound we love, and they meow more. I don't know how you can, you know, reason with an animal like this to be quiet. I guess you just gotta accept that they're gonna make noise from time to time. You know, it's like when I was a teacher, briefly. Hold on. No, let's just use it in here. Maybe we'll get bombs anyway. You know, my initial reaction when I was teaching like 5, 6, 7-year-old kids was like, you know, don't do this or you're gonna get in trouble. And then they would do it and they'd get in trouble. And I was like, why won't you listen to reason? You know, it had been so long since I was that age, I forgot that, you know, when you are that age, your brain doesn't really, I don't want to say it doesn't work right. It just doesn't work at an adult, with the same kind of conditions that an adult mind works on. With cause and effect. Instead, it's just like, to some extent, random neurological firing. You get the idea. How do you reason with the creature that doesn't understand cause and effect yet? And then on top of that, throw in the fact that my cats only speak cattish. Well, we will leave. Could buy a bomb. I'd rather save the arcade chance. That was a pretty embarrassing fight. Life goes on. Anyway, it is indeed a Sunday over here. How's my Sunday going so far? Pretty good. Can't complain. Saturday was nice. The only thing not nice about Saturday, I'll take you on a little adventure, okay? And don't take this as complaining. You know, I went to bed probably at like, I was watching the first 45 minutes of that new Netflix movie, Cocaine Island. It was very interesting, actually. So I didn't... Please don't. I didn't go to bed as early as I would have liked on Friday night. Maybe like 1:30 I fell asleep. And then I got up at like 7. And it's a little bit on the early side, especially for a Saturday for me. Most of the time, no big deal. Well, I mean, still not a big deal, but most of the time, you know, you just go back to sleep. But this time, for whatever reason, my brain was like, it woke me up at like exactly the right time in my sleep cycle to just be awake, despite only having 4.5 hours or 5 hours of sleep. And so I really had like the longest day off, perhaps in my entire adult life yesterday. But I'll tell you, I was upset. I might even say furious. Because I was like, well, because I'm awake so early on Saturday, I could even watch the qualifying section of the Bahrain 2019 Grand Prix. Then I go look at my channel listings. It turns out it's not on. I mean, we have the same thing that the US has, where, you know, is real, like, popular sports are on TSN1 or Sportsnet 1, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, where's Bahrain qualifying? And they're like, oh, it's on TSN 500. And I was like, do I have TSN 500? And they were like, no. Anyway, that's, I mean, I had a more exciting Saturday. We had a good day, honestly. Went to see the Canucks game. Went to a shootout. It's the first time I've ever seen a shootout at a live hockey game. Live NHL game, anyway. It was a good day. Had a nice dinner, but I mean, I don't want to just belabor the point talking about nice things. The reality is, you know, this week is going to be a little bit busy for a couple of reasons. One is Josh's wedding on Saturday. I'm flying the... I don't know, you know, people always say, like, we're in sunny, blah, blah. We're in rainy, blah, 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 blah. What do you say for Pittsburgh? Bridge-ridden? We're in bridge-ridden Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? Wait, like, Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love. What's Pittsburgh? I gotta look up the Pittsburgh motto. Not motto, maybe, but tagline. I'm telling you, I know we're not taking amazing... we're taking damage that's not amazing here. We need a speed upgrade and preferably a tiers upgrade as soon as possible. We didn't deserve a deal with the devil. I'll level with you on that one. It still hurts, though. So let's see. Pittsburgh. And then you just go to Wikipedia. They'll have a motto here. Just go 1 second. Pittsburgh. Blah, blah, blah. Council members. Who cares? Founded by George Washington. Congratulations. Quit bragging. There's no motto of Pittsburgh? Well, what the heck, dude? You blew up my whole bit, more or less. I mean, that's about it. What do you do? Well, I mean, I'm gonna be at Josh's wedding. So that's the big thing. But what else do you do in Pittsburgh? Top things to do in Pittsburgh. Phipps Conservatory and Botanical Gardens. I mean, it seems nice, but I mean, we got one of those. The Andy Warhol Museum, okay, cool. Wonder why that's in Pittsburgh. Interesting. Is Andy Warhol from Pittsburgh? That seems like the logical step there. PNC Park, baseball stadium and home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Look, not really my scene. I'm excited, though. I have not been to many weddings. It's part of the... It's a couple of different things. First off, the time in my life where I had the most robust network of friends was definitely college. Most people that are in college are not getting married at college age, if that makes sense. You know, there's some college/high school sweethearts, they get married, you know, like 2 years after they finish undergrad or something like that. But very, very few people are like, you know, it's my second year of university. You know what I want to put on myself this summer? Let's just get married as well. You know, it's a combination, financial repercussions, you know, you're young, etc., etc. But anyway, so the only, I went to a wedding in college. I was a +1. Oh, God, I thought I had screwed myself there. But it wasn't for a friend of mine, you know. I was just a guest who happened to be there and, you know, ate their complimentary bread. And then, I'm trying to think, but I'm pretty sure the next wedding I went to after that was my own. You know, once I got out of college, I, like, immediately moved to Asia for a year. And then after I got back from Asia, I lived at home in my hometown where all my friends from college had moved away for like 8 months. And then I moved across the country. So like my network, I missed the window of people getting married, more or less. So this is really like the first wedding of a friend that I'm attending, I think. I feel like I would remember if I... And it's not a joke about alcohol-induced memory loss that tends to happen at events like this. It's more just like... Like, in my head, if someone told this to me, I would be like, you can't have possibly not been to a meaningful wedding in a decade except for your own. But it's honestly true. You know, that combined with being an only child, you know, it's like, I didn't get that many opportunities. My funeral count is definitely over my wedding count. There's no question about that. Not that I've been to that many funerals either. I don't know. It made it seem so macabre. I'm not part of the Addams family. But anyway. So it's gonna be cool, you know? It's, I haven't really been a part of this experience. You know, I get the gist of it. You go into a church and then do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? Blah, blah, blah. I do. And then you get in an Uber and you drive to a different place. And then they play Celebrate Good Times, Come On. But it's going to be a busy week because I got to get, you know, various backlogging done in advance of it so I can, with good conscience, have fun on the weekend. Okay. I mean, that makes me sound like a robot, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I wouldn't, if I didn't get the backlogging done, I'd be in Pittsburgh and be like, man, I can't have fun. I didn't record 7 Isaacs. I only recorded 5. But I would have more fun internally knowing that the hard work has been done. You know, it's one of, I definitely, when I was younger, I didn't really relate to that. But now, like, even on my day off, like, usually I wake up and I'll, like, eat breakfast, have a couple cups of coffee. Right after that, I'm like, let's set tomorrow's videos. Because if I don't set tomorrow's videos, it's like I got something on the to-do list that's just gonna, it's not like I'm not gonna get it done and I'm not gonna have a good time. But it's just gonna eat away at me a little bit over the rest of the day. I'm gonna be like, I still gotta do that. Why didn't I do that when I had more time? Now I gotta go home and do it, you know, blah, 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 blah. Finally, we've gotten a deal with the devil. Okay, it's good. But our rate of fire is still pretty bad. I'm gonna try to get our shop to work for us here. You know, like, that's my advice, honestly. Again, there's not that much that tilts me. But the assertion that I'm some kind of robot who, like, I don't allow myself, you know, like Al Gore in The Simpsons when celebrate good times, come on. I will. That clip. The assertion that, you know, I don't know how to have fun. Instead, like, you can't have fun until you've recorded enough files. It's not like that. First off, my idea of fun is not allowing myself to stay up until 6 a.m. to play auto chess, Austin. Secondarily, I just, you know, if I have a to-do list, it's taken me a while to build this habit, but I would recommend it to you if you, oh, almost got hit there. If you have not gotten it going for yourself, it's a good habit to make. The rest of my day is enhanced if I knock out whatever errand is on my to-do list ASAP, you know? Even if it's something as small like on Thursday, Kate was like, tomorrow we should get new cat food, because our good son Tomo, he didn't like the cat food we bought. The pellets were too big. It caused him oral discomfort to consume them, so he wasn't eating as much as he should have been eating, you know, to maintain his luscious coat. So, you know, I woke up and I was like, I had a cup of coffee, and then I was like, I'm just gonna go buy the cat food. And Kate was like, you know, if you just wait like half an hour, I'll be up and I'll go with you. And I was like, nah, don't even worry about it. I'm just gonna, I can't enjoy the rest of my day until I know that my son is satiated from a hunger standpoint. But then, like, secondarily, if it's just something, well, it depends. If it's something minor you can easily knock out, I like to do it ASAP, you know? If it's something major and anxiety inducing, just never do it. That way, you know, you just keep putting it off forever and ever. Anyway. It's not like, I'm hip, I'm with it. Taka, 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 taka. Those are my 2 cents, at least. I also have to point out, you know, we went to the Canucks game last night. For anyone who followed the saga of us having been at another game like 2 weeks ago, I left in a misanthropic state, you know? young to middle-aged people, mostly men, plus sports, plus too much alcohol leads to an environment that sometimes is a little embarrassing and pathetic. I'm sorry to say, as someone who's in that demographic, I suppose. But this time, we were surrounded by young families, and I guess I've just reached a point in my life where were there, you know, kids running around? Yeah. Were there babies crying? A little bit. Was there, you know, a 36-year-old dude who's had one too many Granville Island sunsetters yelling at the refs and making everybody else around him awkward? Absolutely not. It was a much more pleasant experience, honestly, than the last time we went. So I found myself in a much more humanity-focused or humanity-positive mood as a result of that. So thank you for that. Of course, what it also could mean is if you you know, look around and you don't see a jerk, maybe you're the jerk for the people around you. But I don't think we were. What do we got here? Two of spades. Ipecac? I don't know how this is gonna work with Brimstone. It's I was just gonna say, it's an enormous damage up. But also, when do we shoot? Almost never. Okay. Fair. But our shots are really good when they work. And Guppy's head is gonna be incredible for us. Is this... We're on Catacombs 2. We're actually behind schedule. Okay, so we want as many flies as possible, without a doubt. The flies are doing incredible work. Brimstone will also do incredible work. We would just like to be able to generate more flies if possible. Because the flies are just gonna... Every enemy, maybe even every boss, will die to them. So it's very close to ideal when we can use our Ipecac or Brimstone shot. We save flies. The flies can be used in more, you know, rooms that's more conducive to using them. But I'm not overly concerned yet, but I could be convinced to be concerned pretty quickly. Like, not having any flies is where things get a little dicey. Although, we do have orbitals. Well, we have cube of meat, but, you know, that's pretty good. I would love to... I don't know if soy milk would be the right thing to get, but anything that, like, tripled our rate of fire. I don't even know if doubling would be enough right now, but anything that really, really helped our rate of fire would be a marked improvement. I mean, like, we can charge up a Brimstone shot. It just takes a long time. Yikes. Okay, you really... Never mind. What I was gonna say is you can't squander. Your deal with the devil is too important right now. What I meant to say is go ahead and squander it, dude. Who cares, lol? Okay, so grab this anyway. As I picked up Ipecac, I thought to myself, there was a brief specter of a thought, of a whisper, of a foul portent. And I said to myself, maybe this is really not a good idea. But then I did it anyway. Because I've learned that if you ever get into trouble as a streamer or a YouTuber, you only need like 5 words or 6 words. There was nothing I could do, dude. 7 words. There was nothing I could do, dude. Why is the door open? I guess we killed both of the enemies, but just simultaneously created a skull turret. And actually, it's a good segue, because the hot gaming industry discussion this week has been on the subject of, like, specifically From Software games being inaccessible as a result of them not having an easy mode. And I haven't waded into the discussion on Twitter because it's a waste of everybody's time, but most especially my own, the person whose time I respect the most. And I would rather, you know, it's bizarre to me But I would much rather, and we definitely cannot afford to take that, unfortunately. We need the flies. I would definitely much rather bring up my thoughts in an Isaac episode than on Twitter for a number of reasons. One of which is, if I bring it up in an Isaac episode, I think you're predisposed to kind of like me. Or at least to tolerate me. And that means that if I have a controversial opinion, it's less likely to offend you. You know, it's more likely to, I think, be agreed with. Secondarily, I have the opportunity to use, I mean, that's actually pretty helpful. Thousands of words to explain my point instead of merely 280 characters, which is also advantageous for me because if I have a strong opinion, I can always walk it back and I have the space to go, well, that's just my opinion. If you feel differently, like as long as you're a good person, we're still cool, you know? Here's my thoughts. It's very hard to argue against the concept of an easy mode in Sekiro specifically, because if you argue against an easy mode, it's very easy to label you someone who doesn't care about accessibility. And I don't think that is fair. I get that, you know, there's a subset of players who have physical incapability of playing a game like Sekiro with a level of, you know, fine motor control that is necessary. And I don't even mean like that those people are bad at games. I mean, they might have chronic pain in their hands or, you know, anything that could impede them. However, and this is where I guess it gets a little controversial. And I'm just trying to think about how I want to phrase this. Because it's like, I'm not an ableist, but... No, I don't want it to come across like that. I think the reason there's pushback against this idea, and of course anybody who's like, why don't you just get good? That's kind of like needlessly reductive. But like, what I struggle with specifically for From Software games, and why I think there's so much pushback on those specifically, is that the theme of the From Software game is struggling so much that you eventually, like... I don't know, specifically in something like Dark Souls, it's not so much like... I don't think you beat Dark Souls, or I won't speak for anybody else. I don't think I beat Dark Souls. And I still think we need the flies, even though Mega would be very good, of course. Yikes. I just think we wouldn't live, honestly. I don't think when I beat a From Software game, I'm beating the game. I'm beating myself, as ridiculous as that sounds. Things are hard, and if it was like 95% of other video games on the market, I would be like, this is too hard. You know, they really screwed this boss up, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be tempted to quit. Whereas in a From Software game, the difficulty, I personally feel at least, exists in order to give you, in order to get that theme of like hopelessness out there, and then when you overcome it, you know, it's part of the experience, if that makes sense. Like the medium is part of the theme. They're like the experience the player goes through is like a metaphor for what the character goes through, instead of vice versa, the way it normally is. So like, does adding a difficulty setting into Sekiro make it worse? No, because you could just choose not to use it, I guess. But I do think that's where the pushback comes from. Is that for people that are into those kind of like, I don't even know if I'd call it like masocore, but like for people who are into games like that, the difficulty, you know, the reward is in the difficulty, if that makes sense. Not in like, hey, I beat this boss, so now I can see the cutscene of what happened to young Kuro, you know? It's not really even that tricky of a situation. It's just like I don't think it's a controversial issue. I think it's just there are people who agree and people who disagree. And it is hard to be the person, like I don't relish being the person who's like, the game shouldn't have an easy mode because that compromises the art. Because it makes you sound like an elitist scumbag, kind of. But, you know, there's an argument, you know, I saw Danny O'Dwyer, the Checkpoint documentarian, and he was like, well, You know, I play racing games with a full wheel and pedal setup and, you know, most of the assists turn off, whereas most people play with like a controller and you know, ABS and, you know, racing lines turned on and stuff like that. So, like, for some games, you're already playing, like, my version of an easy mode, and yet you're arguing that Sekiro shouldn't have assists on. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. First off, you got me. I play F1 2018 on a controller with the driver AI really strong, but every assist on. Because I'm like, I want driving to be easy and racing to be hard. So I can tailor that to myself. But I guess it's like, you know, like every argument on Twitter, the lack of nuance. Please, I need to be able to shoot at the right time. Let's just charge Brimstone. The lack of nuance leads to misunderstanding, I guess. It's like if they put you know, assists in a From Software game, it would only be a mild inconvenience for me. Because I would just be like, hey, I've died to this boss 30 times. Maybe I should just turn, you know, health regen on, or like double posture meter or whatever. There would just be a slight temptation. Would it dilute the experience for me? I guess my hunch has been yes, but I don't know. Okay, dude, is this it? Fishtail double flies? That might be our secret here. I don't know. I guess maybe it is a more controversial issue than I had originally considered. Not for, you know, because it's like an ethical or even political issue. Like, of course, oh, dude, we can go back for the bloody penny here. I think, you know, the more people that can experience a game, usually the better, as long as it doesn't come at the expense of the core audience of that game in the first place. You know what I mean? You know, everybody's all for accessibility in situations like this until, you know, it's implemented badly, if it's implemented badly, and their favorite game that they used to love all of a sudden has, you know, taken on a mass appeal in order to try to court an audience that previously was not really interested in what the game was getting across. You know what I mean? I'm not even saying that would be the situation. I don't know, just in general. I guess the other reason I have a problem relating is because I very, very rarely play games predominantly for the story. So whenever people are like, and it's like I have to become more emotionally mature about this instead of just assuming that I'm right and they're wrong. But whenever people are like, I play games on easy mode to experience the story, I'm like, brother, let me introduce you to a medium maybe you've heard of called film. The stories, no offense, tend to be like substantially better. And I'm not trying to sell out my own medium there. I love games, but the reason I love games is partly, despite my badness, due to the level of challenge. You know, it's the fact that frustration into relief that comes from beating a boss that, or, you know, getting through an encounter that previously was very difficult for you, etc., etc. There are exceptions, you know, games where the story is elevated, but... And I have played games specifically for the story. Like, I mean, the Walking Dead Telltale games, they have no challenge whatsoever, except the challenge of saying goodbye to your closest friends. And also saying goodbye to Telltale, apparently. But for the most part, like, even if a game is hard, like, if I play DMC... Sorry, I always call it DMC 5. If I play Devil May Cry 5, am I going to play it on, you know, baby difficulty? Absolutely not. Am I going to play it on super hard difficulty? No. I'm going to play it through on whatever difficulty was suggested as being, like, canonical normal for the game designers. But I guess that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to experience it on your own terms otherwise. I think also where people take issue is the idea that From is being elitist by not adding a difficulty setting into their game. I guess that's where people start to get riled up. a little bit. Is like, hey, game developer, you just made a game that's considered a masterpiece, but also, you know, why didn't you do this? And people are like, please just relax. Please don't insult my From Software sons. They're making beautiful work, and they're making beautiful work outside of Anne Orlando, which I love to see, so thank you. Leave them alone. Anyway, like most gaming controversies, I don't know, it's too easy to be, you know, quote-unquote enlightened centrist about it and just be like, well, one side says X, one side says Y. The true geniuses amongst us know the real answer is, who cares? We're all gonna die someday. You know, that's like, for a long time, I've definitely been guilty of being like, caring about anything in games is dumb. The thing is, it's not an important issue to you until it is an important issue. You know, this is not an important issue for me because I like the difficulty of Sekiro where it is. I would prefer to keep it exactly as it is right now, but, you know, not everybody is in that same camp. I do have to hit you with the other enlightened centrist take, though, which is that I can't speak for, you know, past the mid-game of Sekiro, but I actually, like, don't think From Software games are that hard. And I say that, I don't, first off, I'm not great at games to begin with, and I've beaten all the Souls games. And then in Bloodborne, well, I haven't beaten all the Souls games if you count Demon Souls, which you should because it has Souls in the name, or if you count Sekiro because I haven't gotten that far yet. But, secondarily, in Bloodborne, I beat all the hard bosses. I beat every boss in that game, including a boss that people have said is maybe the hardest boss From Software has ever made. And you know, like, the difficulty is not, for me at least, is not in dodging the attacks, parrying at the right moment, remembering the patterns, and, you know, not getting too greedy on your, you know, your response to the enemies. The difficulty is in taking a resigned approach where you're probably gonna die a lot, and you might spend an hour and a half, like, learning the boss, but the reality is, you're gonna beat it at some point anyway, you know? Like, if you can just manage your own mental state and not get too tilted, you're probably gonna give yourself the best possible chance. Like, it's really a game, it is about learning patterns, but like the 5th or 6th most important skill is not smashing your controller in half just because you died on a boss twice, you know? You die, you go, okay, I get it, and then you fight the boss again, and you die, and you learn something, and you fight a boss again, and this time for no reason you've regressed, but you go, okay, we'll give it one more shot, you try again, you almost beat the boss, then they catch you with a BS one-hit KO, and then you go back and you beat the boss. Like, it's really about managing, to some extent, once you get the patterns, just managing your own mental state so you don't, you know, throw a temper tantrum. But anyway, you know, I don't know if it's, you know, how long did it take me to get my first win in Slay the Spire? Like, Sekiro might take you 60 hours to beat the whole game, and you'll be like, man, that was really tough. I don't think I got a win in Slay the Spire until 45 hours into that game, on the easiest possible difficulty level, you know? You want to talk about games that are tough to learn, dude. But, again, I'm not part of the get good camp, to be honest. Although, I have to admit, as frustrating as it is, if you're willing to interface with Souls on its level, get good is almost always the actual answer to, like, any question you might have about how to beat an enemy or boss. You know, sometimes it'll be like, you know, well, how do I beat this guy? Well, he's weak against fire. I've been using fire, but he's still hard. Well, then you just get good, dude. It sounds condescending, but at the end of the day, anytime you're like, man, X boss is too hard. You're like, well, have you tried spamming him in the face with a fistful of ash? Yeah, but he's still too hard. Well, I'm sorry to tell you. You stink, and you gotta get better. I stink. The first 20 times I fight bosses in those games, I stink. Sometimes, the only reason, you know, sometimes I'm able to do stuff in these games on the first try is because I played so much of Dark Souls 1 that if I fight an enemy who is like a large dude with a sword, I'm like, I get it. You just lock on, circle around his ankle, and then spam parry until they punish you, and then just attack the crap out of his shins, you know? That it works on like 75% of Souls bosses. Anyway. Then, you know, again, I gotta put myself in the other shoes. People, you know, F1 purists are like, and I mean, people have this opinion. They're like, you know, why are you playing F1 on a controller? You should really get a wheel and pedals set up, and then you have to, like, slowly turn assists off. And I'm like, dude, I'm having a fun time, like, placing above where I should with assists on, just as a result of the fact that, you know, I don't want to learn to interface with that stuff. So maybe, you know, what I'm an elitist about, other people would reflect back on me in a bad fashion, but then they'll just get good. Well, I don't have to get good, because instead I'll just turn ABS on. So how do you feel about that, you lucky so-and-so? Anyway, Mum's Key. It's been a decent run. Definitely an interesting Brimstone sort of run, especially because after we got Brimstone, we've basically been unable to use it as a result of the fact that our rate of fire is 150. We're lucky to have not needed it much, mostly due to the fact that our flies plus Ipecac shots are extremely strong. But dude, I would love to see, and by the way, we owe a lot to our trinket, to Fishtail. If it weren't for Fishtail, I still think we would win relatively comfortably, but it would be more annoying. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a more like pseudo-traditional Isaac run in the future after this, you know, one in which I can actually like shoot. Just watch out. All you gotta do, you don't even have to charge up your Brimstone shot. It's the Ipecac shot where the real value lies. So you try to make sure you're landing that Ipecac shot, and then Brimstone's a nice bonus. I am very thankful they did not give us a void portal there. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode of the video games. You interface with them in your own way, I guess. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See ya!